What is up, you guys? My name is Eric B, and welcome to episode 64 of the ReelRadar Radio show. Thank you for joining me for another exciting brand new week of a new episode. I have a lot of things to cover in regards to, all that has happened throughout the whole week since the last episode, episode 63. There's been the whole bunch of shit that has hit the fan. Supposedly there's some leaked information regarding phase 4 of the MCU moving forward past Spider-Man Far From Home. Things that are lining up that we could very well see kind of come together, when it comes to time for Doctor Strange 2 and Black Panther 2, and I'll be really going to get to see Venom crossover from his solo outing at Sony and crossover into Spider-Man Far From Home as a post-credit stinger. Is it really going to happen? Is Keanu Reeves seriously in talks to join the Eternals? And what does it mean moving forward at the MCU? I mean, there's so much things to cover, so many things to discuss. There's also a lot of stuff that I wanted to cover regarding the show that I wanted to jump into right before I get into the rest of the show, because I think it's time for me to, clear the air on a few things, kind of bring it full circle, and really discuss what it really means for me to, lay it out in front of you. That way you guys kind of have like more of an idea what to expect. So about a week ago, when I did episode 63, I had a lot of contemplation going on, and I really considered throwing the whole show away. With reason, because there was just a whole bunch of mess regarding the show. I had copyright claims on YouTube that weren't helping my cause. I had several other people over at YouTube kind of flag me for, improper use of copyright material, music, and stuff like that. So there was a big old gap where I was just, there was a time where I was thinking, I think I should just throw it away, because I can't fully form an intro for the podcast because I don't have the proper tools. I don't have the proper software to do it. But I have found some sort of a loophole, trying to find royalty-free music so I don't get flagged, so I, can continue doing the show. And aside from doing the show, I had a lot of self-doubt about keeping up with the podcast, and really, reevaluating how I stand and where I stand with the show, and as a person, actually. I give it a lot of thought because, like I said, I didn't want to quit the show, and I just wanted to just be away with it. There was nothing really here to hold me down, to really keep me and the show going together. And I didn't want it to be this one thing where I just stayed inconsistent with, because there was no need for me to do that. It wasn't on my priority list, and I didn't make it my number one top priority because I have a lot of things else going on. I am entering my last semester of college come the fall. I'm getting married in November. Moving into a new apartment pretty soon. I have a lot of other exciting ventures ahead of me, and a lot of things, that are coming up that are going to take, a great deal of my time from doing the show and doing episodes. But I kind of reconsidered my whole stance on all this, and I think that maybe I was just overthinking it, I want to stay close to doing the show. I want to be able to keep up and still find the time, me time, during the week or during the weekend or whatever, to really sit down and do a good show and really delve into a whole good subject, and kind of open up the whole spiel about music and movies and entertainment and trailers and spoilers and reviews, and kind of just talking about it all. But I feel like now's the time to do it, because I ain't getting any younger. People that do listen to the show or who happen to, I run into every so often, I realize that, we're almost 30, man. I mean, shit. 27 years old, gonna be 28 this year. We're getting there. We're still, growing. But I mean, in the meantime, I want to be able to keep up with the show. I want to be able to stay, somewhat ahead of the loop. I'm redesigning my logos. I'm trying to keep updated with, logos and fonts, and trying to make it more upbeat and more exciting. Trying to be more, I guess, engaged with my listeners. I want to be able to create a 800 number or a local number where people can call into the show and we can have a live discussion when I decide to do live shows in the coming future. What I would like to have people come on the show, we can discuss a certain subject, whether it be movies, entertainment, sports, comics, music, whatever the case may be. We can find something to talk about, and we can dish it out in the entire show. And of course, with that certain person's permission, I'll be able to have their voice on on the episode. And of course, you're more than welcome to get a shout out or some sort of a mention in the show. Again, like I said, if you have some sort of social media that I can tag you on, or I can add you to, or we can make it more legit and make it seem like there's more of a collaboration going on with me and my audience, or me and a certain individual, then by all means, I'm all in for it. I mean, I'm ready to up my game with this whole podcast. Want to be able to stay ahead of the curve and engage with my listeners, engage with the people that I target, my audience. My whole reason for being here doing this podcast is to inform you guys and to really share my opinions and my feelings and my stance and my whole knowledge of entertainment and pop culture with you guys, because I just feel like it's my duty and my obligation to freely express myself. And I think it's gonna come together pretty cool. I mean, there's so much more that I want to engage a lot of people with. There's several other creators, several other authors, musicians, actors, writers, creators, artists that I just want to be able to get on the show and do some sort of a collaboration. The I Am a Creator community is a vast community of small YouTubers, small streamers, small creators, writers, artists from all types of media. They come together and they support one another, and they're able to really lend a hand to each other and kind of give each other that extra push, that extra motivation to be more, to be better than themselves and create more content, create quality content, but also having the support and the backing of other fellow creators who also find pride in their pride and passion for their projects and what it means to, I guess, give it all to everybody. I mean, there's so much more people to target. There's so much more people to bring the show to make everybody feel more involved, more encompassed, and people who really enjoy the show actually get a kick out of being able to contribute. And I think it's more fun when people engage with one another and engage with the whole fact that there's a certain topic or a certain subject or a contest or a raffle or whatever the case may be. People get involved, people get engaged with it. It's more hands-on, it's more fun. So I want to be able to bring that in the far future. Not so far future, and I guess just make the show more fun, make it more interactive. I want to be able to talk to people. I want to be able to get other people's opinions on horror movies and comedies and, what they're creating and what they're listening to and what new music do they recommend and what movies do they recommend and what is going on through each other's minds and what's your stance on this subject and this subject. Again, I'm going to discuss it right now, and I'm going to be the first one to say it before I jump into anything with anybody. No politics on this show. None whatsoever. I'm not here to talk about Pelosi, Trump, whoever's, in politics. I'm not here to talk about the 2020 presidential race. I don't want to hear any of it. I am just, it doesn't concern me. And I know a lot of people are on me because I didn't vote in the last primaries. I didn't participate in the presidential election because there was no need for me to do this. So I didn't feel obligated to vote. I mean, I don't follow politics, and I don't like them. I don't like politics. It just bores me. We're fucked anyway. We're gonna, face whatever ramifications are coming our way, whether they're good or bad, whatever. I mean, Trump was elected, big deal. Can't do anything about it. Have to deal with it. We're stuck with it. I mean, it's the, at the end of the day, we really don't have a voice or a vote or an opinion. I guess we're just bowing to majority rules here, I guess, whatever. But whatever the case may be, I don't care about politics. I don't want it on my show, and I won't have it on my show. In the coming weeks, in the coming few episodes, I am, and this has been for a while now, I've been trying my best to find a way to get a phone interview with the author of the Gray Matter book series, Anthony Parker, who, by the way, went to high school with me, and trying to get him on the show to discuss his book, trying to discuss other inspirations that he has had going into writing this series and what it means to, I guess, create this vast world of, characters and creatures, and, the storyline that he's come up with to really, what was his inspiration from all this, and where did he get all his inspiration from, and what kind of books and movies and forms of media does he look into, and what is he interested in, and what does it take to really create the world that he did with his series, and what is it like to be a writer, a published writer, in terms of being able to, I guess, finally sit down and take the time to just get everything out. I mean, I would love to write a book, and a lot of people, would agree. I would love to write a book. I have a couple of ideas that I just want to get out of my head that have been bouncing around for a couple of years now, and I kind of want to pick his brain about how to publish my book, how to get started on that, and if you know anybody, or even if you ever wanted to write a book or some sort of a memoir or whatever, I mean, by all means, stay tuned in the coming episodes. I'm hoping and planning to get him on the show with the next 2-3 episodes of the show. Don't quote me on it. I can't promise you anything, but I am really trying to get him on a live show so I can catch him on a live interview. So it's just that much more easier, so we can just kind of speed the process through a little bit. And of course, with any live show, the show will be available on Spotify, on YouTube, on Spreaker. I am still pending on iHeartRadio. Come on, get back at me. And from what I'm reading and what I'm hearing is, I guess iTunes is working on my part. I don't know. I jumped into it yesterday. Apparently, it was Spreaker and iTunes had some sort of a fallout or a spill or something that was causing my shows to not regularly generate. But I checked iTunes. I logged into iTunes Connect, and I saw that everything's, honky-dory over there. I mean, my show is still available. Episode 63 is available. Thank you, Nick, for reaching out to me on Instagram and letting me know that it's showing up on your iTunes. I really appreciate it. I kind of went off your tip just to go check iTunes and stuff, but everything seems to be working fine. So, all right, that's pretty cool on my end, I guess. But long story short, the show is going on. The show is getting better. The show is going to keep building, keep, trying to conjure up more of an audience, trying to get the show more out there for people. I kind of want to make the YouTube audience expand. I want to get the I Am Creator community small streamer YouTube army involved, kind of collaborate with one another, trying to see if I can get anybody, or if anybody knows anybody that can put together a intro for a show or a podcast. Send them my way. Send me a message. Tweet me, send me a message on Instagram, something. Just let me know. And if anybody is willing to point me in the right direction where I can get a proper intro for the show and get things squared away, that'll be terrific. So, this past week, there has been a lot of hustle and bustle about the Child's Play film. The reboot, the remake that's coming out this month in June. And I was thinking about something, about how much time and effort was to make this Child's Play come together within 6 months. It took them, I guess, just that amount of time, 3 to 6 months, to put together a script, film the whole thing, get Mark Hamill involved. You have all these other stars that are attached to this film. No involvement of Brad Dourif, no involvement of anybody else from the original, trilogy, or anybody from the original story. But I think that a lot of people are fearing the worst because the film was rushed, because it all came together so quickly. The marketing campaign for the film has been absolutely hilarious, but at the same time genius, because it's playing on to holidays that we've had, whether it was Mother's Day, or it was graduations, or whether it was other releases of other films like Toy Story. Child's Play seems to be taking a lot of jabs at Toy Story, which is good, which is really funny. It's very funny. I think it's pretty hilarious. And there's just a lot of viral marketing that are going hand in hand with Child's Play, and it just makes sense because it's a reboot, and it involves technology, and it's bringing everything that we know technology wise to, I guess, scare us in a way that makes it seem like technology is gonna be the main factor in this, which it is, because it just would make sense. But I was thinking about something that I know a lot of people are giving a lot of shit, because some people don't agree with the overall look of Chucky, and some people are like, you know what, we can make it work. We're gonna let this kind of play out, see how this new look Chucky kind of plays into this whole reboot, this whole storyline, a whole fresh perspective. I was thinking about something. In the film, they're promoting the release of the Buddy 2, the doll. I guess it's like the 2.0 version of the Buddy, of the Chucky doll. But the doll that Andy gets, that we see him get in the trailers and from all the TV spots that we're seeing, is the original Buddy, the first version of the Buddy. If the Buddy doll, such as this one, is technology advanced, and he's able to control a second part, or the second version, and connect to all these Chasm products, like Andy has the hearing aid that's also a Chasm product in his ear throughout the film. If you've seen in the trailers, he's got a hearing aid. He can connect to the thermostat, smartphones, smart apps, things that are controlled by the Chasm company, and everything that he can get his technological hands on. Then that would make much more sense to maybe if there was a second secret Chucky doll that maybe we just don't know about. Maybe the one that we're being shown is the first version of the doll, and maybe the second version was what we're gonna get is maybe a totally different look for Chucky, but maybe it could be something closer to the original than what we have seen from release photos and the trailers and the TV spots. And who knows, maybe we might get something closer to the original. Maybe it'll be more updated, more upgraded, more tech savvy, more capable to kill. The fact that Chucky is technological savvy, and that he can connect to any Chasm product. can you imagine what he can be talking into Andy's ear through the hearing aid when he's just in, dummy mode, or when he's not even, fully activated, during the day, or while he's asleep, or something, like maybe he's in school or something, he's talking to him through his ear. I mean, that whole idea, the whole premise is very interesting, because, he could be telling him stuff, and he can be hearing stuff, and, for this whole time, people can really think that Andy's actually crazy, but because he's, hearing voices or something, but in reality, it's actually is Chucky talking into his ear, telling him what to do, and telling him what he's going to do, and, pretty much really obsessed with Andy, because he's programmed to just love and target Andy and just be his friend, be his best friend. So I guess this is gonna take obsession and all this whole, obsessive phase of wanting a best friend and only having that best friend for yourself to a whole new level. I mean, this could open up a possibility of sequels down the road if this film does very successful down the road. It's already poised to be a great opener during the summer blockbuster box office season that is in full swing now. It's coming into full swing with Spider-Man Far From Home, Toy Story 4, Aladdin, Lion King, and several other films that are coming into the whole summer box office slew. There's just a lot of films that are going to be hitting box offices pretty soon, pretty fast, and I think Child's Play is going to be one of those films that it's going to be top notch, top AOK, grade A horror, quantity. And for all I know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going to tank at the box office. We don't know. A lot of people were expecting high expectations for Hellboy, and Hellboy did poorly at the box office, and fingers were pointed, people were to blame. A lot of people didn't agree with this iteration of Hellboy. It just didn't seem to go the way that they wanted it to. David Harbour, who has been tapped to play Hellboy, who's also on the show Netflix Stranger Things. It's good to see that he's still optimistic about Hellboy, and how he's still trying to keep a level head about the whole project, and kind of holding out hopes to see what it means when come time for DVD sales and digital sales, and maybe that means that they can get greenlit for Hellboy 2 or something down the road. But speaking of David Harbour and what I had mentioned earlier about the MCU, David Harbour supposedly, reportedly has a role in the Black Widow film, which is actually in pre-production right now for the MCU. And Marvel has been, like always, tight-lipped with everything, tight-lipped with the casting choices. No mention, no word. Supposedly there's another actress that's taking on the Black Widow mantle after the film that will somehow supposedly roll with the punches, I guess when it comes time for the Avengers to reassemble later down in phase 4 or something like that. I'm not too sure if that's the case, if that's true, if that's just a rumor, if that's just what people are playing off of. But the whole David Harbour thing, being involved in the Black Widow film, was supposedly, reportedly being said that he is playing the role of Ben Grimes, who a lot of people would recognize the name as the Thing from the Fantastic Four. He even made a whole spiel about about him playing, having a role in the Marvel film as a thing, quote unquote, a thing. So he goes, it's a thing. And a lot of people are saying, what he's playing the Thing. And it's going to usher in the whole Fantastic Four with the Disney and Fox merger happening and everything coming together. It just seems very likely that it might happen. So what does that mean for Disney and Fox and moving forward with, Fantastic Four, moving forward with the X-Men, moving forward with other properties that Fox may have. What's going to happen with Blade? Blade was one of those other franchises and projects that is still in limbo. So it's that property is kind of tied up with the whole fact that maybe or maybe not, they may bring it back to the point where maybe Wesley Snipes can kind of bring that back in. I don't know if that's going to affect anything. Maybe not. The whole thing that I don't know if there's room for a Blade film that could be brought back in, or a TV series or something. I know we had a TV series a few years ago that did fairly okay. That just wasn't, the visual aspect that I guess they were going for at a certain time. But Marvel still has Cloak and Dagger. They still have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They did away with Luke Cage. They did away with the Defenders. They did away with Iron Fist. And they did away with Daredevil and the Punisher. And now Jessica Jones is getting her final season on Netflix, which we could all expect there to be on Netflix for maybe 2.5, 3 months tops until, it's pull plugged and, no longer seen again. But, I mean, with all these canceled, Marvel properties that have been on Netflix for the longest time, and Disney promoting their Disney Plus streaming service come October, November for $7, a lot of people are going to subscribe to Disney Plus because you're going to have animated classics, you're going to have live action films, you're going to have remakes, reboots, sequels, films that have been in the vault for years on end, and things that that could help come time for other things. Marvel, as many of you may know, is owned by Disney, so you can expect all the Disney films, all the Marvel films, all the Fox films that would be, I guess, deemed Disney safe or Disney proofed to be on Disney, streaming services, to actually make it happen. So you guys can expect to pay $7 for streaming service for Disney Plus, rather than paying for $8-9 for Netflix. However, I mean, with $8-9 for Netflix, you still get original programming like Orange is the New Black and the upcoming season of both Orange is the New Black and Stranger Things. So, I mean, I would say, hold on to your subscriptions. There's going to be a whole storm of, I guess, programming that's going to be made available in the readily near future. I mean, but besides the whole point, besides the whole fact of me drifting off away from the entire David Harbour thing, I kind of got ahead of myself there a little bit. But, yeah, man, I mean, I think it'd be pretty interesting to see how the next phase in the MCU is going to kind of bring in the whole X-Men, bring in the Fantastic Four, bring in other characters that Fox had and other properties that they had that need to make their MCU debut come time for, phase 4. And there's a lot of other properties regarding the internals. Black Widow is obviously in pre-production right now. The Internals is another property that Marvel is looking at right now that is really shaping up. It's really coming together. There's Angelina Jolie is already attached to the film. Kumail Nanjiani is already attached to the film. Now you bring in James Madison or James Madsen or something like that. I don't forget. John Madison or something. I don't forget the guy's name. I don't even know what he was in. I just know his name's James or John or something like that. But you take which I believe is one of the most successful actors in Hollywood, and a lot of people would probably be like rolling their eyes because they're like, he's horrible, he's people don't like him. I like him. A lot of people like him. A lot of people dislike him. But Keanu Reeves is by far one of the, prolific actors, I gotta say, since I've started watching movies and stuff. I remember him from Speed. I remember him from Replacements, Point Break. The Matrix, Bill and Ted, Constantine was probably one of my favorite films that he was in that just blew me away, man. I mean, it was amazing, you know, and I still like to watch it from now and then because it's just so like visually stunning. That and The Matrix, but I think Constantine would have to be like the number one thing. But you take the success that he's had in the John Wick films, and you have an actor of his caliber and his status that he's hitting right now with the John Wick films. He's already greenlit for John Wick 4. The same week that John Wick 3 came out in theaters, the studio already greenlit John Wick 4 because it's a cash cow. It's a mega hit. You know, people love Keanu Reeves and they love him in the role of John Wick. And John Wick's also getting a TV series produced by, I don't know who the fuck's making it, Sci-Fi or True TV. I don't know who's making it, but there's a John Wick series in the works that is going to be coming soon to TV. I would highly doubt that Keanu Reeves is involved in that because he's a busy man. He's still got Bill and Ted 3 Face the Music coming up, and he's gonna be filming that pretty soon. If the rumors are true, he could be attached to the Eternals film from Marvel, which is going to be great because if you sign Keanu Reeves, who was already rumored to be attached to Captain Marvel but had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts, get him while he's hot. You know, I mean, get him while he's still steaming from the success of John Wick. People want to see him in the MCU because, well, obviously the MCU's a juggernaut, and you know, signing all these actors who have been, you know, either, you know, very famous actors of the 80s and 90s when we grew up. You got Michael Douglas, you got Michelle Pfeiffer, you got Robert Redford, you have William Hurt, you have, you know, that Marvel has revitalized and rejuvenated the career of Robert Downey Jr. You have Mark Ruffalo. You have a lot of big name stars who have already part of the MCU, and you add in somebody with the caliber of Keanu Reeves. Shit, I mean, I'm pretty sure Marvel will peak at its highest with the inclusion of Keanu Reeves in their films, because who wouldn't want Keanu Reeves in their movies? He's an awesome actor. And I say it all the time, I like the guy. I like him. He's a great actor. I think he's great. The Replacements was a hilarious movie. He was awesome in it. He was good. I loved it. Constantine, probably the number one film that I've seen. Then I have to say Point Break. Then I have to say The Matrix, because it's just, for some reason, no wait, Constantine, Point Break, Speed, then Matrix. Before all that, Replacements. And I still have yet to see a John Wick film. But given the fact that I'm on a new schedule where I have 3 days off, I think I might just play catch up and watch the John Wick films and see it for myself how badass these movies are, because supposedly these movies are just amazing. From word of mouth, from people who have seen it, you know, relatives who've seen it, friends who've seen it. I want to be able to say, you know what, I'm right. You know, Keanu Reeves is probably one of the best actors alive right now. So I would have to say, you know what, I'm all in for Keanu Reeves joining the MCU. I don't see any other reason or any other, you know, reason not to have him join the MCU, because if you didn't have him in any Marvel property, I don't think that he shouldn't be in any other property such as DC, because we all know how that turned out. You just so happened to miss the whole, I guess, edge about this DC casting news that has just come to light. And I'm hype. I'm more hype about Keanu Reeves joining the Marvel film, but at the same time, I'm shaking my head, and I'm kind of completely done with DC and Warner Brothers and what they're doing with all these properties. Robert Pattinson as Batman? Are you fucking kidding me right now? I mean, come on. I mean, who would want that? I mean, people have already photoshopped the guy's face under the cowl to see what he would look like as Batman. Some people are convinced, some people are not. I don't think it's going to make any sense for him to be part of the DC universe when the DC universe is still flailing. It's still flailing. Is Henry Cavill still Superman or is he not? Ben Affleck's out. Matt Reeves is still working on the Batman film. And you attach Robert Pattinson to the movie? Great. All we need is just Taylor Lautner and that other chick from Twilight to join the movie, and you're going to have a whole Twilight reunion in the DC universe. But I cannot believe that they got this guy to be Batman. I mean, he has no muscle definition to be Batman. He has no great acting capabilities to be Batman, because I don't think I've ever seen a movie with Robert Pattinson where I'm actually convinced that he's a really good actor, because I've never seen any of his movies. Yeah, I can say it. I've never seen any of his movies. Everybody who's watched Twilight would probably be like, oh, he would be a great Batman, or oh, he'd be amazing. I think he'd be amazingly horrible, because I don't like the guy. He just has a really hateable, punchable face that you just wish you could punch, you know? I mean, it's not anything targeted negative against him. I'm probably sure that's what it's coming off as. But, I mean, come on, man. I mean, who would want to watch that shit? I'm more psyched for Joaquin Phoenix as Joker. And I will probably stop there, because Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, that's a long-ass title already as it is. Birds of Prey, really, all this happening with the... man, I don't know how this is all going to come together. And it's just one big slop now. I mean, you have Margot Robbie still playing Harley Quinn. We have a rendition of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. Jared Leto supposedly still the Joker. I don't know what Warner Brothers is doing right now with all these properties. How it's all mushed together, it's not making any sense for me. And I don't think it should make any more sense for anybody who is actual DC fans right now. Because if you're following the DC universe, it's failing. It's falling apart. Swamp Thing was just announced as a new series coming from DC Comics, and look at what happened this week. Not even a month or 3 weeks later, Swamp Thing's already canceled. DC canceled Swamp Thing, and a lot of people are saying that the first episode of Swamp Thing was amazing. It was really good. It was a great reception. A lot of people liked it, and a lot of people were voicing their opinions on Facebook and all over the internet, saying that, you know what, DC fucked up by canceling Swamp Thing. And I'm not one to jump into watching DC, TV shows, because I just don't see it. I haven't even seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet, and I'm still trying to debate whether I want to watch it or not, because it coincides with a lot of the MCU films, and I'm curious. It piques my interest, but I mean, I still haven't even watched that. I still haven't even watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's all over my Hulu queue. I have a bunch of shows on my Hulu queue that I haven't even watched, but that's one of them. I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's on my Netflix queue. Still haven't watched it. But in all seriousness, I think that Warner Brothers should really reevaluate what they're doing with these properties, and really consider what business did they have with these DCU films, and what they need to do moving forward. They need to set their sights on one Joker, move past it. If you had Keanu Reeves join the DC universe, I think you just ruined his career, because you can't build the entire universe around this one amazing actor. And yes, I'm sticking by my whole answer of him being an amazing actor, because he is. He truly is a great actor. And I think that if him joining the Marvel universe, it's great. I mean, that's fantastic. But I mean, you had your chance with Henry Cavill, and you're either having him stay on as Superman or he leaves, that's solely on Warner Brothers and DC, and that would be the biggest mistake that they would have made up to date. Batman, Ben Affleck as Batman was just dead in the water from the get-go. I think it was horrible. A horrible casting choice. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is just wonderful. That would have probably been the best casting decision they have made in terms of keeping continuity and how things are going to be playing out in a few years with Wonder Woman. I mean, you still have Wonder Woman 1984 coming out next year. And a year from now, I guess you would say maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, there was a teaser poster shared for Wonder Woman 2. And it's colorful, but it's also powerful, and it's also very enlightening to see. And we still have a whole year to go until that movie comes out. The hype already for that film is already, very, very true, and everybody's very excited about that film. But at the same time, I don't see everybody jumping on the whole bandwagon with Robert Pattinson doing all this. Christopher Nolan probably did the best rendition of the DC universe with Batman, with Christian Bale, with Tom Hardy as Bane, with Heath Ledger as the Joker, with Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon, with Morgan Freeman involved, with Michael Caine, and with all these other actors who worked for Nolan, who worked with, Syncopy, and who worked with DC and worked with Warner Brothers. They made it work. That was probably the pinnacle of that highest point. And I'm not taking away from Michael Keaton's performance of Batman, because that was just awesome. I mean, that was probably one of the best versions that I've seen of Batman, and that's including Christian Bale's version. I'm not counting Ben Affleck, because that was just horrible. And George Clooney's Batman suit with nipples is it's kind of off-putting. But at the same time, I cannot believe that I did this entire show without having to contemplate what I'm going to talk about, because I had everything signed and ready to go and set up. I mean, it's working out, and I think it's going to be awesome to see it all come together and post, because I still have to put all the sound bits together and put the intro together and put this all, beautiful production in one awesome clip and share it with you guys. It is Friday, June the 7th, and I hope you guys enjoy your weekend coming up. It's going to be a great weekend. I wish you guys the best. Enjoy your weekend. Happy listening. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Again, anybody that knows anybody that does intros to podcasts or shows, or anybody musically inclined, send them my way, or let me know what's going on. I'll see you guys next week. Yeah, next week on episode 65. You guys have a wonderful weekend. I will see you guys soon. Bye. This is the ReelRadar Radio Show.